Hey everyone, so today I'm back with another video. It's just going to be a bunch of quick tips today. These tips might not be super useful if you're a veteran to the game, but if you haven't played this game for a super long time or if you don't play it a ton, then there's probably something in here that might be useful to you. So the first tip I have is to always equip a medpen when you log on, because even if you're not doing combat, you're likely to run into a situation where you're going to need one. Like even EVAing into your ship, you can often take damage that would cause you to bleed out if you don't use a medpen. So I think it's best to just save yourself the time of dying and respawning from an accident like that by taking the time to equip a medpen every time you spawn. Okay, so the next tip I have is on a similar subject, and it involves dying. So when you die with a gun out or a mining tool or something of that sort, you lose the item. So I'm about to demonstrate here. I'm just gonna hold backspace with my gun out, and when I wake up, it is no longer available in my inventory. It's still there in the freelancer where I died, but it's kind of a pain to have to go get it. And if you were doing a mission, it's not always possible for you to go back and retrieve your gun. So the tip here is that if you're dying and you die slow enough to be bleeding out and you don't happen to have a medpen, or for whatever reason you know you're going to die, try to hold R and then you can put away the gun. So I'm going to show here, I have the gun equipped, I had it out, but then I held R, and when I backspaced after that, it is still in my inventory. So whenever you can manage to do so, you want to hold R to stow your weapon or tool or whatever it is before you die so that you avoid losing it. Okay, so this next tip is really short. It applies specifically to Port Olisar. So if you're coming into Port Olisar with either a mining load or cargo that you're hauling, and you want to be able to sell it as fast as possible because you're worried about pad rammers or server issues or anything like that, you can hold backspace as soon as you land, and you should spawn in Port Olisar. And by doing so, it's a little bit faster to get to the trading consoles to be able to sell your goods. So that's what I did just now, and it should shave a few seconds off of the normal time it would take to walk in through the airlock. Okay, so this next one is for if you're landing at a space on a planet and you don't have a mission there. So as soon as you quantum travel there, it'll become unmarked. So to mark it again, just spool up your quantum drive and mark it on your map again, and by doing that, it should be visible on your HUD, and you should even be able to see how far away it is. Alright, another quick one about quantum travel is if you can't jump to your destination for whatever reason, try first clearing and resetting your route in the star map, and if that doesn't work, then try clearing your route and jumping to a different destination. Then try setting your route to your initial destination again. Alright, this next one is about caving and hand mining. So if you want to do some hand mining, but you want to do it in a different location because there's only a few marked caves, you can take one of the missing person investigation missions. You can read the description of these missions to tell where the cave will be, so which moon you'll have to go to, and these missions will give you a waypoint for where a cave is, and the added bonus is that if you find the body, you'll get an additional 4,000 credits usually. Okay, so another tip I have is that you can use scroll to control the speed at which you walk. So normally this isn't super useful because I just hold sprint most of the time, and I assume most of you do that too. But when you're holding a box, you can't sprint. So in order to make sure that you're walking as fast as you can with the box, just go ahead and scroll all the way up on your mouse, and it's possible you can walk a little bit faster. Okay, so for this next one, you can save a little bit of time with those slow hangar doors that you find on Loreville and at some stations if you're in one of the larger hangars. In order to not wait for those doors to open up, you can just hit F11, go to friends, and call the comms for the landing zone that you're at, and they'll start opening the doors as soon as you call them. So I like to do this in the elevator as I'm heading towards my ship. That way the doors will be open and ready for me to leave as soon as I get in there and get it powered up. Okay, so this next one is a tip that might help you land in some of those really small hangar bays that you get on places like Loreville. So if you're in a ship where the cockpit is up at the front, you can just line up the front of your ship with the front of the hangar, and then you can hold control to go down and use your mouse to continue to aim at that part of the hangar, and that'll swing the back of your ship down. And then once you're parallel with the ground, you can just continue to hold control and lower yourself into the hangar. So this one is more personal preference, but for some people this might help you land your ship in those annoyingly small hangars. Okay, so this next one is really simple. So if you're going to expedite your ship for whatever reason, don't pay the expedited fee until the expedited time says instant, because the time continues to go down even if you don't pay the fee, but the fee goes down during that time. So you get your ship in the same amount of time, you just pay a lower fee. Okay, so this next one also has to do with ship claiming. So if you happen to have an expensive restock and repair fee, and this especially applies for ships with a lot of missiles or with a lot of fuel capacity, so some of the bigger ships. Then especially if you're going to log off or if you don't need the ship immediately, you might as well just not park your ship on a pad and just go inside and claim it, because you can let that claim sit in the background, the timer will count down, and you won't have to pay for any of those repairs or restock. Okay, so another thing that's just good to know is how your spawn point works. So your spawn point only changes when you land at a landing zone, be that a planet or a space station. So you can use this to your advantage. For example, if you're running boxes from ArcCorp or Crusader to Microtech and you don't want to have to fly all the way back from there, as long as you don't land at any stations or at the spaceport at New Babbage, when you respawn by holding backspace, you'll respawn at the last station that you landed at. So you could save yourself all the time it takes to fly back from there. Okay, so this next tip could be useful if you think you have a stowaway on your ship. So when you get on your ship, you can check the chat channel, and if there's someone else connected to that chat channel, you know that they're in your ship. This isn't foolproof because I think they can disconnect from the chat channel, but if you see someone in there, then you definitely know that they're on your ship. Alright, so for this last tip, I have one that could save you quite a bit of money potentially, and it's just to not pay your fines. So with this update, they changed it so that for those police stops where they tell you to stop and they scan your ship and everything, instead of getting a crime stat, if you happen to run away, you get a large fine, and it's 20,000 credits, which I think is way too much, and they need to change that. But anyway, these stops are quite annoying. They always seem to happen right as you're jumping to quantum, so you can't even stop for it if you wanted to. And I surprisingly frequently end up getting these, even though I never intend to run. So some people say that these fines will increase over time, or that they'll eventually give you a crime stat, but I don't think these are actually real concerns, because I've had one for a while and it never increased, and also even if it does give you a crime stat, when you go to jail all your fines go away. So yeah, I would just not worry about it, and then if you eventually go to jail, or if you want to go to jail, you can clear your fines just by doing so. So just for demonstration purposes here, I went and trespassed at a commare. And then another mini tip is if you want to turn yourself in, you can die around these security ships. There's usually a lot of them around Everest Harbor, but another thing you can do if there's no security ships around is if the station's turrets are firing, so I see the turrets going off all the time at Olisar, if you can get yourself killed by one of the lasers from the turret, it'll take you straight to prison. So if you're not trying to avoid prison and you just want to get there as fast as possible, those are some quick ways where you can kind of turn yourself in. Alright, well that's going to be it for this video. If this helped you, please leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.